I'm very happy to be here in Tbilisi. I've launched this book now in Washington, in Boston, New York, London and Brussels, but it's nice to be actually in the region, in the capital of the South Caucasus in Tbilisi, and it's nice to be in a place where I can actually make a presentation with a glass of wine in my hand without getting some suspicious looks. There's actually a section in the book called Wine, which I thought was very essential. It's a book about politics and history and conflict, but it was very important to get a few other things in there. There's a section called Wine, there's a section called Soviet Florida, which is about the conception of the Caucasus as a sort of playground.
One of the chapters of your book, Tom, devoted to Georgia is called Nationalism and War. Is there anything special about Georgian nationalism? Is it especially militant or deep-rooted?
I would say now it's probably even more moderate than Armenian Azerbaijani nationalism at this moment. But in the Gamsakhurdia period, yes, I think Gamsakhurdia period, Georgia, it was probably the most extreme manifestation of nationalism in the Soviet, post-Soviet space at that point. Georgia for the Georgians, and studying the war the first war in South Ossetia, 91-92, I was struck by the fact that it took a genius to start that war in South Ossetia. Georgians and Ossetians were some of the most integrated people in Soviet Georgia. They were Orthodox Christians mostly, a lot of intermarriage, trade. You know, they didn't want independence, and yet somehow Gamsakhurdia managed to start a war with them, which really took quite a lot of talent.
And number 5 might be the Russian factor,
right.
which creeps into a lot of the discourse here.
I think Russia's capacities here are actually weaker than they look, or even Russia thinks. I mean, look, and people say that Russia wants to take over the Caucasus, and I ask them, what are Russia's levers here? The Russian population, ethnic population, absolutely tiny, less than 2%. It's not like Latvia or Kazakhstan, where there's a powerful local Russian lobby. You know, a couple of, if you take Abkhazia and South Ossetia to one side, which I agree is quite a big if, but I think it's generally true, quite limited now Russian military presence. And also, Russia's got its own internal problems to deal with. The North Caucasus is a far bigger priority now than the South Caucasus for Russia.
You just called Tbilisi the capital of South Caucasus. Does this book touch on that a little bit? Explain why Tbilisi can be the center of the Caucasus, diverse as this region is.
Armenia and Azerbaijan have an identity which extends beyond the Caucasus, extends a bit into Iran, the Middle East. Georgia is the sort of the Caucasus country, you know, it is there in the mountains. This is where the identity of the South Caucasus is strongest. And also it's where the Armenians and Azeris come together in Tbilisi, you know, in good ways. You know, there's the carpet shop next to the baths, which has a joint Armenian and Azeri owner, for example, you know, which I would like to present as a good example of Tbilisi and of Armenian and Azeri cooperation.
So congratulations on the book, and
well, thank you all for coming.
And to the group as a whole, buy 1, buy 5, whatever. Thanks a lot.
They're all gone now, I'm afraid.
Hello.